Hey, what's going on, family? My bad, y'all. I had a little trouble with the stream earlier, and yeah, absolutely got you know, absolutely not your problem. Not anything that you should even be dealing with, but yeah, that's what happened. So, what's important is that we're here now together as a family. So I then tried to use OBS, and it restarted my laptop. So that happened. Yeah. Anyway, what's good? Good afternoon, good morning. I don't know where you're watching from, but I trust and hope you are all well. This we should be yeah, we should be good in just a little bit. Just making sure a couple of things are consistent with the stream thumbnails and everything, and also just logging into my TraderVate. Okay, so just bear with me for 1 second. I obviously cannot bring that onto the screen right now because then you guys will see my details. And yeah, sure you're fantastic traders, but I do not want I would not like to I don't want to risk it. It's basically what I'm saying. I prefer not to risk it. But anyway, enough yapping. Let's bring the screen on. Yeah, I'm going to share the entire screen. Let's go. And finally. Yeah, let's do that. Yeah, it's a bit redundant. My camera's not going to come on today. I just want to focus on what I want to focus on, which is just trading, so yeah. So anyway, so let's start again and just like walk through the day. All right. I have been reading Markets and Profile by Jim Dalton. Thank you very much, sir. The book is fantastic. I also, I watch his webinars and stuff on YouTube. So no, that really put a lot into my mind, just as far as how knowledgeable I really thought I was. Anyway, so starting off, this is going to be a bit different, of course, stock theme, as you guys are noticing probably, but yeah, but the principles are still going to be the same. This is just a daily chart. I'm using these bars as it candle bars for it. Doesn't change anything, but yeah, but we've been in an uptrend, and then we consolidated, and then we hit a little uptrend again, and then we consolidated, and then we broke below the high of that consolidation, right? Kind of slightly below. And this is where we currently are. So, I mean, what was the 20th? The 20th was Thursday, Friday, Monday, and then today, right? So we're kind of in this area, all right? So that's just kind of a context. So we're not thrown off if we do get a if we do get a rotational day of sorts. And then coming into what we did overnight. So this was yesterday. That's yesterday's high at 686, and then yesterday's low at 655, right? And then this is the overnight, right? Open right here, opens, open above the settle, and pretty much overnight inventory is being long. Overnight inventory long, meaning that a majority of the trade happened above the settle. Okay, so what we're currently experiencing in this volume profile is we're experiencing a correction of overnight inventory, right? So basically, yeah, we're just correcting overnight inventory. Okay, so in a way, liquidating these longs right now. Okay, so nothing much to it. Our high is over here, which overlaps with Thursday's high. Okay, so at some point, it would be a very interesting level to revisit. Our overnight low is down here at 660. And yeah, overnight lows at 660. Mark that out. And yeah, and so we're just gonna do the same thing. Just watch how we react around yesterday's high, how we react inside the range. Probably easier if I come over on this side. It's the same TPO chart, only difference is on this one, I have the overnight already on there, and then on this one, I don't have the overnight. This just makes me identify gaps a little quicker, a lot quicker, and it also makes me identify, um, yeah, you know, just as far as like yesterday's range and value is concerned. So that's why I just separated that. But it's essentially ultimately the same TPO chart. Okay. And then what we have down here is the 666. We have the it's a gamma exposure level. Does it overlap? I don't know why. Hold on, let me sync my charts. Yeah, boss is supposed to be. Yeah, well, we can see it over here. So that's our gamma exposure level. Triple 650. Well, flat 66. It's right here. It's not 675. So we're gonna move this up to 675. Okay. $675. Thank you very much. Let's just double check what is. Okay, so 675 is overnight point of control. So, you know, in case you're wondering. And what's our 715? Okay, so just slightly below. Just slightly below the weekly point of control. So yeah, so this is where I will be considering my longs. A little 8-point stop loss, maybe, perhaps. We'll see. This is a GEX bot, and this is something. It's a new tool I'm using right now. So, which shows me gamma exposure levels, and yeah, I'm not knowledgeable enough yet for me to give an entire explanation around it, but I am using it right now. Okay, so here's our B period prints. Let's see how we react in the next 30 minutes. 675, and that's 665. We're gonna have to make a decision at some point as to which one we take. I guess it's really just gonna be a thing of watching how we react when we come down here. You feel me? Yeah. All right, so good. If you are watching the video, please give me a shout. Let me know what's good with you, where you're watching from. If you're watching on X, please repost so that my channel can grow, so that I don't trade like a maniac. Yeah, major positive at 715. Major negative keeps shifting between 665 and 675. Just what I'm saying. I don't know which one um, to look at entirely. Uh, so looking at the wrong. So looking at the wrong. It's looking at the 90-day instead of the 0 DTE. Yeah, it didn't change much. Still pretty much the same thing. Okay. Yeah, I guess the only somewhat 675 is interesting because it's right at the point of control, right? So, uh, whereas 665 really doesn't have an overlap with anything. So I would assume that this would be a stronger level. But it is just an assumption. Nothing in relation to the overnight value level or to yesterday's settle or to anything really. This is why I think maybe the 665 would be stronger. But yeah, but let's see. Which then begs the question, like, why don't we just short? Why don't we just short into these levels, right? Because my answer is because yesterday's high. Qu'est-ce qui se passe ici? $686. That was a key level yesterday as well. Yeah, but everything's still reddish. So should have a little more downside from there. It would be pretty interesting to get to 665 because basically we would have gone through the entirety of yesterday's range. So I mean, and it is quite a way to go from that 86 level. 85, 86. No wonder. I also just I don't want to do anything. I don't want to do anything. I don't have any substantial evidence of knowing whether it will work, could or will work for sure. You know what I mean? So there is that. 0 gamma is at 93. 664. Okay. Yeah, so that gave for sure. I think okay, we'll talk about it after. Maybe we can talk about it now, I guess. But I guess like having the gamma exposure levels, it's kind of a cheat code because it's showing me where market makers have to do something. So you know, I know I know they have to do something at these levels, right? More so at 665 because that seems to have stuck, right? 664.26. So so because these are options, right? So essentially we're looking at options and yeah, so I know that like they have to do something here. So if I know that, why would I, you know, why would I go against what's clearly there as data? I don't know about shorting if I'm not shorting from a major uh, positive or negative GEX level. So, for example, that's a major positive GEX level, but we didn't trade there. We haven't traded there yet. So, if we haven't traded there yet, why would I short from the 0 gamma? I mean, yeah, like sure, it's working right now, but I don't have enough. To be honest, I don't have enough data or conviction or yeah, I don't have enough data or conviction to take that sort of trade. And at our equity plus kind of need to do well. And I guess also minus those levels, I would have looked at this and gone, okay, well, that's 4 ticks below yesterday's high. And so this is support. And so let's go long. Right. And that doesn't quite register. I guess maybe that 684. 684.50. It's a 680. So I guess I don't know. Let's watch and see. Let's watch and see. But yeah, um, I'm just saying ultimately that's something I would have considered because also that's value area low from Friday. So value area low from Friday, yesterday's high. So value area. Let me zoom in. Friday value area low, yesterday's high, and then we just yeah, it's not exact, but kind of somewhat trading around that area. So without context of these levels, like these GEX levels, I would have considered going long here. Still could be valid, but I don't know. And it could be valid because that is, that is a GEX level at 684. So it does, you know, it does fit the narrative of going long there. But the major negatives at 664. And then also because I know that the major negatives at 664, and the question is then do I go short from here? Do I go short from here into 664, put a 4-point stop loss, maybe at like 90, risk $100 for that? But then my question is, but then what if this is actually support? So I don't really have that much money to throw around. Because from here to 664 would be nice money. Should we do it? Let's do it with small money. Yeah. We'll put it at 90. All right, so this is on the MES. So it's about $60. 84. I lied, it's about like $30. So let's see if uh what do you mean? Okay, so let's see. Let's see if this works out. Yeah. Yeah, we're still going for 664. And then if it does, then no, it's 674. So we'll just keep on. Okay, we'll just keep on checking that level. Okay. It's moving into 91 because this is 924.6. So it's another thing that I discovered is that if you split a letter, you get to see whether there's acceptance with the down move, right? So it's the 30 down or up move, right? So first period, A period, 30-minute, B period, 30-minute. Where the points of control? Point of control is here, other point of control. Previous point of control is there. All right, so clearly we're trading right now. We are below, this period's point of control. And then also you can see like the value for this B period is below the value area for this A period, right? So one way to check if it's one way to check if there's acceptance of you know not acceptance, but if, to see if there's like continuation of a down move per se. So so 89.50. This is zero gamma. Well, 89. So yeah, almost perfect reaction off. Almost. Let's see, just watch the 89. If it then starts trading above zero gamma, then essentially, you see positive, 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 positive. That's the only thing that's negs, eh? And our net gex is also positive. So uh the tools are somewhat they're all very new to me, I'm not gonna lie. Um yeah. So you know I'm also making sense of them as I use them, or at least as I experiment with them. You know. If this works out, I'm a genius, though. You know, I'm just saying. I'm really not. I just spend a lot of time on the internet. A lot of time on the internet. Definitely more. I don't even know whether it's puts or calls. I just know that there's more here. What does it look like when I set an alert? Okay, that's good. Guess we just have to watch when we get here whether this shifts green or not, right? If it gets there. Yeah, so uh what did we trade into? We traded into the value area high, into yesterday's value area high, right? 681, and then came off it. So again, like the level is significant, yes. And this is, I guess, this is what I guess this is what I'm trying to figure out over the next few days, right? Is what takes precedence and what's stronger, and how do you manage risk around that? Yeah, because that is value area high, so what types of trades suit this? Like, this is already a system that I've been working on. System. Well, this is just the way in which we look at the charts, right? Yeah. uh TPOs, overnight session, RTH, yeah, highs, lows, halfbacks. That's pretty much it. That's all we've been doing. Settle, close, lost price, etc. Right? But now, with the knowledge that 63% uh, of trading volume goes through the options, how much weight does that have in how the market moves? You know, and then how do we position ourselves for that, for those moves? I'm willing to, of course, I'm willing to put on some risk to determine. Well, determine is strong, but I mean, I'm willing to put on a little bit of risk to find out what that looks like when you're not, taking positions directly from the levels themselves, and taking positions towards where they are strong levels, right? And then planning your exits around those levels, because the trade that I want to take is from 664. That's what I want to take. I want to take that long. I'd like to take this long. And so, whilst I wait for the opportunity to take the long, Can I also capitalize on the down move? Can I maximize the down move as well? And that's the experiment for today. That's what I'm trying to figure out today. Well, that's what I'm trying to figure out right now. What I am trying to figure out today is how well does this work? And also, what happens when we get to like these other gex levels? So what happens when we get to 79 and to 74 and to 69? And just, what happens as we're trading through these levels? Because this is the major negative. But what about these ones? What about the in betweens? You know, what did I call them? 60, 79, 79, 74, 69, right? And again, 79 is value area. It's around about the value area. It's inside yesterday's value. So you know, um, and 74. I don't see anything. 74 is the overnight point of control. So there's that. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, for $50 up, so must have done something, right? $50 is what? I saw 5 points. So, okay. Let's monitor for continuation for the purpose of, oh, shit. Oh, shit. That didn't even give me an opportunity to buy in. Okay. I guess the answer is, well, that's how those levels work. Damn, okay. I guess that answers that question, but now we don't have a fill from 665, which we could wait for. What was that? Was that a news thing? Because that happened too quick. So yeah. And again, which makes sense. I mean, look at I mean, it's not like to the tick, but all mines are being removed and would guess I guess Iran has been notified that any ship or boat placing new mines will be. Yeah, of course that was a Trump tweet. But what we do have as proof is that the levels work. For real. The levels work, bro. Cause yeah, okay, cool. Like over here, I bet if I switch from that to the SPX. Okay, on the SPX it's 650. It didn't actually really touch. But it makes sense that we got a reaction off there that quick, right? Of course, if it didn't touch on the SPX, it didn't touch on the ES. but we got the 664. So it's crazy. But yeah, it's not a bad little move at all. But then again, and then of course, if this didn't work out in this way, if say I then decided to be long from 74, then that would have taken me out. But me being long from 74 would have been going against the major negative, which is at 64, 64.50. So I guess the second question for the day is, can we be patient now to wait for this to come back to 64? Because this that short, I mean, we were short and then we went long. I guess it's like the chicken and egg question now, right? Yeah, I'm gonna do this. And what's that? 65, 57, 57. So that's a uh 200 risk, right? And 699. I'm gonna make the 688. It's gonna get out like a little before. And yeah, and I guess let's just wait for it. Yeah, let's just wait for it. I don't even know what how well or poorly that performed. Well, I don't know how much that was, but counts up, which is not bad. Yes, close it. Yeah, it's not really giving me what I want to see. Could have already bought the, just could have already been hedged already, just from how quickly that went back up. You know what I mean? Okay. It's not bad. I mean, plus commissions or whatever, but it's not bad at all. I ain't mad at that. But yeah, I'm just saying like this could have been hedged already. Mm, okay, let's split this. So okay, and we know that 74, 75, whatever this is, isn't as strong a chart, right? When it is, we'll see the switch from 64 to 75 or 74, whatever it is. We'll see the major negative switch over here, right? But still, um, net gamma is still negative, right? So, well, the volume is negative, but the open interest, some of all call input gags. Okay, I guess it's positive now because of that. It's okay. If we once we cross zero gamma, if we cross that and we cross this line over here, then I'll look to short 699 instead. 699. It's just makes sense because it's not that far from the high, right? You know, from the high of day. So just I guess it's just a question of where do we go first? Yeah. And whether we can accept this volume back inside the B period. I won't lie, how that worked, it just worked. It just happened a little too quickly for me to wrap my mind around it. Um, but that also makes sense because that wasn't as a result of like our own smarts, right? But as a result of like news that as a result of news, right? So, news came out, we got that spike, and then after that spike, we got the, you know, basically we were too short and then we corrected it. So now I guess the question is, after having corrected that, you know, the shorts, do we are we back at what we were initially trying to do, which was uh, getting back down here? I still think, I would have thought like 656 and 650, yeah, like your 656 level, which still is there. I would have thought like that would have been where we got a lot of like volume, but it's 664. Uh, so I don't know either. Uh, Also approaching 74. So this still hasn't changed. The major negative still hasn't changed. So let's let's see though. And honestly, we didn't actually get there, right to that put call. Is that a put call? To that well, we didn't get to that put level, right? We didn't get to that major negative. 76, 74.50. As I was saying, like I don't have enough. Uh, okay, let me sort this out first. I just want to protect myself here a little because I feel like my stop is in between. Uh, my stop is in between some, so it's it's a low that wasn't really visited. I think this is Thursday's low, and then this is that other day's low, the day that put in the high. So um, I don't know with what type of aggression we're gonna go to this. So I'll just make a stop like a 300 stop. So we'll go from 65, 75, 55, 75, uh, right, 55, 75, and then we'll subtract another two. So we'll go to 53, 75. I don't know. Just, I don't, I just don't know how well respected this level will be. How, you know what I'm trying to say? My entry is a tick above, it does 64.50. Maybe I should put it at 64.50 exactly, but I do also want to make sure we do get the entry. Um, so yeah, so what I'll do is let me just move this to 64.50, right? And then we can judge the level on its exactness. Okay. That is also if we do get tagged. Yeah. And then we'll see how well the levels work and how well they hold. It does put us where are we? What is this even? Again, it's not like okay. This is an overnight value area low from no, not an overnight value area low, but it is a low from a previous overnight session. Monday's overnight session. It says Monday's overnight session low, 64.50. And the puts is right at that level. Uh, yeah. I also don't know about but marking it. We'll see. That seems And 7450, crazy. 7450 is at the open of the overnight. It's gonna switch this to a 1 minute. I just want to see how, uh, you know, yeah, right at the level. Eh? It's not particularly. I don't know if this. I can't call it a good or bad sign. I don't know if it. I don't know whether it's positive or negative, right? But it is level, and you know, some of these things are just the way that they're lining up is it's kind of lining up, and it doesn't look like a coincidence. You know, because again, I'm not creating these levels. Like that is the open, right? As you can see, this is from the overnight. As you're reading, 08252026, right? Open 767450. And if we go to the GEX level, 74674529. And that's right where we're at right now. So, and this was, I guess, this was like my not concern, but like the question that I had earlier was, okay, well then what do we do? Because these are significant. Well, was a significant level until we fell below it. But it is significant though, right? Because otherwise, if it wasn't, why were we shifting in and out of that level? And the question is, okay, cool. Like, if it so happens that you are in a session and this is your best position, I don't know, for some reason you've missed that. Do you take that short to 64? This was fortuitous from from where we got it, because again, yeah, it was fortuitous, bro. I'm not that smart, you know, but it was with an understanding of, give me a sec. uh yeah, what was I saying? What was I going to say? Yeah, I guess what I was trying to get at is, like, I just don't know if I should be taking longs from there, or if I should just focus on taking longs from the major levels. Yeah, I just say, like, yeah, essentially that's what it is. Because again, you'd have to do your own research and learn about this shit or whatever. But my understanding of it is that market makers have to they have to hedge their positions, and how they're hedging their positions is that um, if they sell puts, then they have to buy in the futures, right? They have to hedge their portfolios somehow, and so that's kind of what gives us these levels, right? I say exactly how it works. I have an idea, but I'm not the best person. I'm not the best person to. I'm not the best person to break it down in, you know, in its full beauty, right? Um, because there are intense calculations that go behind this, and there are also features that I just didn't feel the need to pay for with this gig spot. 6275. And also, is it an exact level, or is it a an area around? And what does all of this mean? What does the 1 minute prior to, so I'm just saying, like, I would absolutely love to break it down and explain all of this to you, but I'm just not qualified to do that. Neither am I qualified to um, say teach you how to trade. But what I am doing is I'm journaling my process, and as I'm figuring whatever I'm figuring out, then maybe there's something for you as well, right? So everybody wins, I guess. But yeah, but the it's the exact, yeah, it's just the exactness within the exactness of how we, after, even after like that news thing, like it dropped to that level, and then it bounced back. So anyway, it's the time till 10. Yeah. Okay. Okay, so balanced going low, and then big tail, right? So we do have um, some form of imbalance over here, which of course, okay, cool. Just making sure my mic was on. And then imbalance, that's a spike. That's that big news event, right? What we have on the charts is we do have price having gone to that level, 64.50. What we don't have over here, though, is we just don't have a visiting of that level, right? So we actually haven't, on the GEX levels, we actually haven't touched that, which is an interesting little piece of data, I guess, you know. So um, my understanding, again, is that we come here and, if we do, um, yeah, if we get here, essentially market maker is going to have to buy the ES up. You know, we saw something similar here, right? We did spend a little bit of time here and then we moved up, but it's not the major negative, right? At least it hasn't. I mean, maybe it is, and I don't know. It just hasn't reflected yet. But what was interesting about the 74 level, if you look at the combined chart with the overnight, is that that level is right at open. It's right at the overnight open, right? At 74.50. All right, so we open at 74.50 overnight, and that's also the level that is, you know, circa. Okay. The I guess I could be a little more. I could calculate the conversion a little better, but why bother? Oh, uh, yeah, I'm not doing that. Sorry. Not that not that it's impossible or that I cannot, but I don't want to spend another hour trying to figure out how to perfectly convert the SPX to my chart when I still am trying to figure out how this works. So I would much rather not. 94.75 because that's 94.75. Nice. It's gonna go to 94. A bit of a double distribution. I mean, we can see it also on the triple distribution here, here, here on the volume profile, but on the market profile, just here and here. Right. So 64.75.
What will you pay? You can go on without to pay. What will you pay? Yeah.
75. So yeah, I mean, the 74 level wasn't like that great. Um, was it was a bit of a short term move, right up to yeah, that keeps moving. So I guess it's not really. Yeah. So as I'm saying, you know, there's the two scenarios in my head that the two scenarios that might have already happened, right? So we did short into that level, and then we got a and then you know we reacted off of that gex level, right? However, on gex spot, it doesn't look like we got there, right? Even after I switched to the spy, um, to the spy, no, to SPX, right? Yeah, just go to spot price. Even on the SPX, we actually didn't get there. You know, just 650. This is just like converting the SPX spot price into the ES price, right? So we didn't actually, you know, hit that 64, 65 level, whatever it is right now. But um, we did hit it, like we did hit the price level over here, right? 64.50. I mean, we went down as far as 62, I believe. So there is, you know, one of the scenarios that I have in my head is that no, actually, we did get the touch of that KX level, and whatever was supposed to happen from here is currently unfolding, and this is, you know, going to be a continuation higher, you know. So that's one of the scenarios. Um, the second scenario, which I prefer, is that no, actually, we didn't actually um, activate those options, right? So, And then there's also a time factor that we need to be weary of, right? That we need to be conscious of, right? And that time factor basically is, the later on you get on in the day, the less value that these options are going to have. And, so, and also at some point, which should be between now, my time, should be between like 5 and 6, we should see an explosion. Just like there should be more speed, and that's just because of the way in which gamma is calculated, delta is calculated, charm, and I've forgotten what the other thing is, but just in the way in which like these Greeks are calculated using the formula that they use, right? Of which time is a factor, well, time is a variable, of course, and so is price, right? So price and thank you, thanks. Price and time, right? Price and time, and then the fact that like the options in themselves also expire because these are 0 DTE options. This would be a 90-day chart, and then this would be a 1 day to expiry option, right? So these are going to look different somewhat. They're going to be somewhat different. All the same though, not too concerned with like the 90-day or the 1 DTE. We're looking at the 0 DTE because that's what brings in the most, it's how we have like that 60% volume being options in your trading volume in a day. All of this still needing to be information that I need to verify, of course, but I've heard Jim Dalton speak about it in his webinars, in the book Markets and Profile. That's also something that I've read, and that that's also in the book. I'm not explicitly about 0 DTE options or whatever, but he does mention buying puts and or calls to hedge his trades. And I guess just like that constant mention of options, as well as someone who primarily trades the futures, just kind of made me curious enough to at least look into them, and then there was an episode on chart fanatics, which which kind of made it a bit of a non-brainer. Which then again would then beg the question, well, then if you have that and if you have those levels, then why do you need all of these? Why do you need the TPOs? Why do you need volume profiles? Why do you need to know settle and halfback? And why do you need to have any context in the market? If you could just pretty much YOLO it, right? Could just come in and then mark positive, what's it called? Positive GEX, major positive, major negative, major positive, major negative, and then just, YOLO it from there. But then I wouldn't have had this level to consider placing this trade, is the other side of it. So the context still matters, the context still matters. And I guess also just like knowing, we'll see. I mean, if this continues higher, then it continues higher, and then I'll know at the end of the trading day that this level was actually respected, and we got that touch, and that's yes, please. And that the tea's for me, guys. Sorry, it's not for you. That this level was respected, that we got the touch. We, whatever hedging had happened here happened, and then the secondary level after this had been got, right, was again at a market generated level, right? This is MGI, and it's at overnight open. So is that a cool? If it happens once, it's a coincidence. But then if it's like, okay, that's market generated, and then over here before this move, this was right at Thursday's low, Monday's low. So Monday overnight's low. That is. So I don't know. I guess we'll see how this all works out. For sure, if we cross above the 681, if we cross above the 681, yeah, like 685, then I'll take this off and we'll consider shorts from 694. But right now, just in the event that we didn't actually get we didn't activate this, or however, I don't know options lingo, bro. So, but the fact that we didn't actually get here on this price chart or in the spot price, and it's a major level, does make me feel like maybe we come here, But that could be us coming here off the, maybe getting all the way up here first. I don't know. Anyway. Like, comment, and subscribe to learn about the market as I learn about the market. Also, you guys are getting this for free. I had to pay for this. So Okay, I mean, here's a here's a quick use, I guess, of like discretion, right? And also the TPOs and everything. Like, yeah, I want to be short from here and I want to be long from here, right? But since we're in the middle, I don't know. I don't know where we're gonna go. I can't say for sure. Um, we we did break above like the C period highs, right? But then after that, then we're now below half back of the day. All right, so we're trading below half back of the day. So does that give me enough confidence for me to be like, oh, okay, cool, we're still gonna come back up here? When we made the break above the C period high, I did think, okay, cool, then this is, I guess this is going all the way up there. Maybe let me take this long off, right? Let me take this long off and then place a short from there instead. But again, just like context, below half back, we did take out the C period high, right? So essentially, we've kind of covered that short. We've weakened that move by having taken out the high. Because of course, if you're going long, then people in the market would have got out here, which is what we're seeing. And also because this isn't at like a significant level or anything, and this could be new selling, right? So, um, there are multiple reasons as to like why people would have exited there, you know, um, which I'm not 100% aware of. What I do know though is that where I want to trade from is I want to trade from either here or here. I just don't know where we're gonna go first. Wherever we go first is where I want to trade from. Like, you get what I'm saying? So, you know, I guess like that context is important. So seeing how these e prints then form, right? Because we've had this, as I said, like we were short, and then we also covered those shorts, right? Um, I guess now the question is, now that we've covered the shorts, does the market continue in what it was initially planning to do? Or did we actually get those puts? Like, was that hit, and is this the move? And this is just like a bit of um, a stalling, right? Because again, that is like 20 something points, almost. So, but if we do break into the 90s, then I am going to be interested in this again, you know. And again, just like looking at where we are on the GEC side, we are above zero gamma, right? Which also kind of acts as a VWAP line. So major GEX is at 695. So we can wait, we can wait. Yeah, with that being said, hello. All right, thank you. Yesterday's high again. Yeah, so I mean, we managed to break above this. Yeah, then I will be interested in that short. $95.10. And this like being there also worries me a little because it's like, why are you there? You know, why is this up here at 7:05? Okay. E period is definitely trying to. Okay, looking at the profiles, right? C period, D period, overlapping, but overlapping above, right? Value area high above. And then this is yesterday's high, which is where we're at right now, which is 686. A magical 686. Yeah, our major positive is actually 705. So hmm. Hmm. Yeah, I had to. Sorry, boys. Yeah, I just had to confirm what the difference is between open interest and volume, right? I feel because down here it's the same, but the open interest volume keeps shifting up and down. So let's we'll stress test it using uh volume. That's what we're gonna do. We get it or we don't, so I'm still gonna make my stop structural. So I mean, it's like, yeah. Mm, I could give this another 4. The battery's hella full. So yeah, I mean, not that far off. 695. And then we do have previous week value area low over here. This we are creating like some form of structural weakness at the top here as well. I mean, the B period high and the E period high, right? Just like really close to each other. So could be somewhat of an unfinished auction that we, are seeing here. So we could revisit this possibly. Yeah, I mean, again, we saw this with this with the 74 level, right? Where it's like right at the open. It's like, okay, maybe. Let's say we call this a coincidence. See, I explain this and I'm like, oh, okay, cool. That's a very interesting level because I mean the put level is right at the open of the overnight. And you could be like, oh, okay, cool, that's just like a coincidence. And then you know, and then I bring your attention to this level, which is at 64.50 at some point. And I'm like, well, but look at this. This is at yesterday's overnight low. And you could be like, okay, but that's just a coincidence. But I mean, this is a third thing now, though. right? This is not the open. This is right at today's open. So yeah. I mean, it's one of those things where it's like until we actually see something happen there, until we get there and then we get like some form of reaction, or we get like some buying or selling, you know, or until like we get to that level and then it's completely disrespected, like, nothing holds at this 94, 96, and 95, right? We get nothing there, like nothing, no crumbs, nothing, right? Um, you know, okay, our major negative also just shifted up in volume to 74. So our open interest is still 664, but major negative is now at 74. So for sure, 75, right? This is what is it? 74, and then it shifted low again. But yeah, 74.96. We're looking at 75. All right. Okay. Question time now. If we do come here now, do we want to buy this? You want to go long from here? Maybe. It's just context now of what we yeah. And of course, like even just like buying it, this is value area low, right? Circa value area low. So yeah, why not? If we come here, but if that's not the first place we go, if we go pretty much inverted from like what we wanted to do down here, we're gonna do it here instead. Move this. Yeah. Yeah. It's my little book collection, whatever. Gotta stay woke. Which would be a nice long because just consider, yeah, consider we go long from here. We have this weak high, right? Weak high, poor high, however you want to call it, whatever you want to call it. So potentially, yeah, okay. I'm sold on the idea.
Oh, okay.
Super tight stop there because, yeah, because basically if we don't go from there, I guess this half back at 73. I don't know. I feel like if we don't, yeah, if we don't bounce from here, then just Have another look. Yeah, rather red on the max change. Let's see, we should be fairly close to some form of entry. I'm gonna put it behind this. What is that? So about 200? 300? It's very wide. I mean, as I'm saying, it should and what's gonna happen are two different things. But my expectation is that we get here, we get the tag, and then we go back up. Right? Right here, before C period halfback. I am also aware that this says 64 and this hasn't changed. So what I don't know is, does this hold, or, and also just considering the time. See, it's like keeps shifting by volume. Should make sense. Yeah. What does a profile looks like? What does a profile looks like? Hmm. Logically, logically, it makes sense. I mean, value area low. That's what we're looking at. Value area low on both volume profile and on the market profile, circa. I mean, right on the volume profile. So value area low, market profile value area low, just slightly lower. Get a rotation of that, which does align. La question. The question is, does that happen or not? And this would be the okay, but yeah, and overnight point of control. Overnight point of control, developing volume profile, value area low. Yeah. Just the hokey pokey, huh? What are we saying? 94.50. Okay. I think we're definitely getting this 94.87, 95 thing, eh? Let's just wait and see. Yeah, it's kind of somewhat as I expected, pretty flat, hey, as a day. Just around about the same area. Nothing hectic. You know what I'm saying there, boss? Yeah. Let's see, still work to be done. Need to take that out, get into value, and then we can see about that. Um, at least these are consistent now. Not really. Open interest, major positive is 704. No, I can give this another 2 points. Yeah, just in case we do 704 instead of 94, which also would not be an amazing thing to experience, but we are going to go with volume. Okay, so we're going to go with the levels as we're seeing via volume. Even our target's just going to be via volume. It's 74.87, so we are targeting. But it needs to get here. That's what has to happen. If I'm looking at this from a 5-minute, yeah. So I guess that was the 5-minute. This, no, we didn't get like the touch, right? Happened. Open it. I mean, there's still open interest there, right? Which I'm going to when I go to bed, I'm gonna do some research on that and find out what that really is about and how we can leverage that or use it to our advantage. But anyway, we did get that touch, and let it, so 664, 665, we got it. And that took us there. And then that bounced back, right? So we have little profit to play with today. And then post that, then we use this area, which was the 74 spot, which I just didn't know whether this was gonna hold, or had we actually caught that, had we respected that, just didn't know. And so I guess like from here, 674, we've got a couple of exits. Here's for one, what's this, 684, and then we're moving towards 689. We want to get on, we want to get our entry right at the 694, which would be slightly below halfback, right at halfback, at A period halfback, and also at the open of day, right? It's kind of at the open of the day, so we're gonna go short from there. Yeah. Let's see. So everything is green, which max change gex. We'll find out what all of that means in due time. Changed. There's your 89, right? Let's see, do we go short from here or not? So clearly, moved lower, moved into that GEX level, and then, bounced off of it, and now, we're moving back up into that 94.75. So 94.75, what am I expecting? Shorts. Right? Obviously, we're short from here, 94.50. So that's the intention. That's what we'd like to see, of course. If we take out that A period, I would be somewhat concerned. Open interest did move up to 704. So, as long as this doesn't move higher than where it is, right? Major positive, because that's what we're using now for these entries. We're using volume. Yes. So we're using volume. Okay, open interest here just in the 670. I don't think I actually want to see that, to be frank. Because I don't know what it means. So yeah. I don't know what that means. Sorry. Yeah, because I feel like now I was just kind of considering a lot of things, just like thinking, and also that was moving up and down quite a lot. So look at 695 and 675. So those are the levels we're gonna deal with. And if open interest was I'm sure it's important because then otherwise it wouldn't be a parameter here, right? They wouldn't waste space putting that up here. But at the same time, I don't know how to use it. Yeah. Previous week value area low. That's what we're doing over here. Yeah, these feet picked up an action from the D periods. C period at 17, TPOs. So 19, 16, 29, and then 15, 17. Sure, we're way above halfback. Halfbacks at 682. So my understanding, I'll involve you guys in my education. Okay, about that. Yeah, so just above this, we have previous week value area. I mean, just above price right now, we have previous week value area high, low, excuse me, and then the previous week point of control over here. It's at 715. Which would be interesting if that's at 715, but it does not. Of course, there are put levels there: 715, 710, 704, 705, 716, 15, 1010. I'm not sure what that is. 704. If it was some sort of level that was significant, I would have marked it out. But it's like 12 now. So again, the time is keeping tabs on the time, because I know at some point this is these guys are gonna have to sell their puts or buy. I don't know. Which could be here, or it could be here. Who are you? 690. $690. Yeah, I guess value area high, hey? So just gonna rotate. I mean, possibly. Because that's value area high. The volume profile value area high is right here. So that's that. What's looking at 690. Yeah, we've taken out both highs, both B and E period high. How well though? Not by that much. 2 ticks on the E, 1 tick on the B. So yeah, 692. Let's wait and see. And we're looking at 695. Yeah, 695. Let me minimize my Kindle because it might look like I'm just trying to show you guys how smart and intelligent I am, which I am, but it's not what I'm trying to do. Oops. Yeah, I think we still have room, space to get up here because we haven't completely shifted red here, right? And our net gex volume wise is still positive. So I mean, determining whether this move has, whether there's acceptance in the F period higher, I guess is just going to be as to whether this value area starts, maintains above the E period point of control. I guess that's one way I figured I'd monitor for continuation. So, like, when I split, essentially, I take this market profile, right, which is very evenly balanced tail, and just go, well, okay, I split the letters, I split at each letter, right, and then that way I get a volume profile for each 30-minute period. So, and then I can see how volume is developing in that 30-minute period, per 30-minute period. And if I want to have a look at it like as a whole, then I can see it here. And then now to monitor a continuation, it's like, okay, cool. We didn't get this, obviously, you guys saw that. But in seeing if there's acceptance like higher, right? C, D, E, F, right? Clearly nothing flows below each letter, right? So C period all the way, the load all the way down here. D here, E here. So we haven't had a close, we haven't had, for example, if this F period closes below this E, then that trend higher is dead. Yeah. And then after that, then we can then look at 74, 75, and then look for the long from there. Just depending on the time, just depending on the time, because like these options are going to expire at 4, right? So obviously we're not trading options, we're trading the futures, but as to the relevance of the levels or the strength of the levels, I think I'd be a little more comfortable if we wrapped up our day in the next hour, Still, with that being said, I was saying to monitor the continuation, what I'm doing is I'm watching the volume on the volume profiles, and specifically where value is, right? So 70% of the volume in the C period traded here, even though the C period low is all the way down here. Majority of the volume traded here, and then the D period it traded low in relation to its time period, but it was still higher than value area low, right? Obviously, because we also didn't close below, right? But then in the E period, the value shifted not completely, but I mean it shifted higher than the value, with from the D period with like a gap. So it's like, okay, cool. It didn't even overlap. There was an overlap here, no overlap here. Here we have an overlap. So and we've taken out the E period high, and we've taken out the B period high. So it could be weakening, right? But yeah, it wouldn't mean that like that's the end of the attempt to get back here, right? But we did get to today's value area high, so which is why we might have been met with temporary downside, right? Because again, this is 690. So those two things do align, right? Value area high, and then this GAX level, at 690. My bad. So yeah. Yeah. And also yesterday's high, so yeah, so this is yesterday's high. Yesterday was the 24th, yes. So yesterday's high, I think if we close below that, we start trading below that, then that should be some form of uh and also we tested it twice, right? Tested it on the downside, found something, tested it again, found something, and we switched to the 30-minute. So we've had a test of it. 86.50. So it's 95.25 is halfback. This is Friday's halfback. So let's make sure this hasn't changed. Nope. Three more minutes till G period. Let's check in the time. Still before lunch, so renting in the 90s, which is this area here. All right, 690, 692.5. And you're seeing that volume did somewhat pick up. Some reason this looks massive now. You know. If we do get here to 695, I mean, even a 681 exit or 680 exit would still be a pretty good exit. You know what I mean? Yeah, I think it'll be a pretty good second trade for the day. Also, I'm just, also just considering that pretty much from here to here is like 5 points, and thinking about whether I would be entirely enthused by the idea of, you know, holding for an extra $100 when when we did make it up, you know, with the first trade, so um for sure, if we, if this works out the way that we're anticipating, yeah, once we're at zero gamma, like 681, 680, 681. I mean, nothing really stand out about that area. Yeah, I mean, it is half back, right? So, you know, so just for full considerations and stuff, I think that wouldn't be terrible. Because again, what are the chances that we get here and we don't see anybody try and buy this up, right? 682 or 681, whatever it is. You know what I mean? So yeah, just a consideration, you know. Of course, all the way back here, all the way down here would be fantastic. As a consideration, it's like just thinking around like time, first of all, time in the market, myself, time that I would have spent here today, which also could be used reviewing all of this stuff. So not a great first 2.5 minutes there for all my G's. But yeah, I actually kind of prefer it if the move is not extremely enthusiastic. Just a personal preference. It would make me feel a little uneasy. But pretty sweet one-time framing. Okay? Pretty yeah, pretty nice little 2 hours. If you could have sat through it. Obviously, the move down was a lot quicker, but the move up, the move up was pretty solid. Voila. Uh, I also, I can see this does look like, it wants to go lower, but even with that, right? I don't think we should chase it. Like, yeah, I see this Gex level and I see we're reacting off of it, right? Which was somewhat the case here. And before, you know, this moved up because it was like down here at 65. Yeah. Um, I see that and I hear that chat, but also, you know, the major positive is still 694. So if we take this trade and then if we take this trade and it doesn't work, then basically we lost money off something that I had an inkling on, right? That, oh, well, maybe let's just take the trades off the major levels, so also the max change GX is for the most part green, right? And the net GX is also green on both volume and open interest, even though I don't understand what open interest is yet. I know what volume is, right? And I can see the net gamma exposure is positive here. So until we get here, and then this doesn't work, and then this level doesn't work, or it gives or whatever, I don't know. Um, you know, then I don't want to be going short here, and then I don't want to be going short here because then my stop would have to be lower. My stop would have to go to what, like 701, and I wouldn't have given myself enough room. Whereas, my stop's at 708, which is here, right? Which is above this gamma exposure level, of which I don't know if we can get there, if we will get there. What I do know is that this is what it says is the max. So I'll respect that. And and that's where my entry is gonna go. And also why I feel like I don't want to chase I don't want to chase the trade, so very much a let the trade come to us. And this is like 2 points away. And so, just going short out of the fear that I miss out on the trade is not good trading. And going short from here would be valid as well because that is the previous week value area low, right? And we do know that there's a gamma exposure level right above it. But the entire thesis and everything that we're trying to test or stress test today is how thorough these levels are and if they support what we've been doing so far, at least over the last 2 weeks since we started, since we integrated market profile and moved away from purely just the volume profiles, right? So in the Jim Dalton way of trading, how does adding GEX levels, how does that improve our trading? I did give this a test yesterday, but it was literally, I just found out, not just, but I mean, I only spent maybe like a day and a half on them. So, but then the trade that I was going to try, the trade that I tried and then missed out on the entry because I was hesitant, worked out. I missed out on that trade and worked, and it was like, it was like 30 something points, which is mad on the ES, So, I mean, we got like a 19-point trade here. which is also pretty good, you know. So just want to see how far we pulled back from here. 84. Yeah, by like 5 points. So stops have to be circa 8 to 10 points if I am gonna be safe. But yeah, but as I was saying, valid entry because that is the previous week value area low. So maybe I'm being a little too scared, but $6.94. So let's wait for $6.94. Hey, what's up, man? Is green and red lines volume delta? We're delivering from a rejection of the value area low and seem to be heading back to the point of control in a 2-hour time frame. Okay. Okay. Let me read that again because I'm not sure if I'm delivering from a rejection of the value area low and seem to be heading back to the point of control on the 2-hour time frame. Yeah, I did see the value area low. I spoke about it a little earlier. My bad, dude. Sorry I missed your comment. But yes, value area low. Yeah. 677, which is this D period here. Just give me a second. All right, C period, D period. That was the value area low you had mentioned. All right. So yeah, so we were long from here. All right. We're short into this. What these levels are, the massive red lines, these are gamma exposure levels, which I'm getting from GXBot. It's this little platform tool over here. So yeah, so we were long over here. I'm not sure what you mean by the 2-hour point of control. This is the point of control for the day. This greenish box, which we just retraced to right now, that's the point of control for the day. Previous day volume point of control is down here. So this is previous day point of control over here. So I'm not entirely sure what you mean by the 2-hour point of control, but essentially what I'm testing is how strong the GEX levels are and how effectively they work. I was short earlier I was short just below 84.50, which is just bear with me 1 second. 84.50. Yeah, so around about here. This is where I was short from. It was just below yesterday's high, right? At 86.50. Which I had, where I was stuck was I was like, I don't know if I want to go short from here because what I wanted to do was what I wanted to do was to take a long from the 64 level, which was a lot longer than what it is right now. There's a lot more volume here. So I wanted to go long from here. And then what happened is round about the 84 level. So round about here. Yeah, round about here. And that's when I started having the debate with myself as to whether I wanted to go short or not, and to go short into the level, right? Since I was waiting to take a long from there, I wanted to go short into that level. And then I took the trade, but I took the trade with 2 contracts. And yeah, and then we got that, so I just marked out, that was a 74 level I'd marked out. And then the 64 level, which is where I wanted to initially go long from. But there was a Trump tweet. And then as soon as we got to that put level, and then it went long immediately after. So whatever hedging that had to happen here happened here. Yeah. So I have proof that this worked. What I'm trying to do now is I'm trying to go short from this GEX level, which is 94, 96 over here, right? Essentially 95. It's the major positive GEX level, 94, 96. Yeah, so I think $ that's market makers. So just with knowledge that essentially you're gonna have to hedge their positions when price comes here. If the market makers then buy institutions calls, right? Or puts calls actually, right? Then these guys are gonna have to hedge their positions, and how they're gonna hedge, as this is the SPX, is they're gonna sell the futures. That's the theory. Sure, it's a lot more complicated than that, of course, but that's what I'm trying to figure out. I don't know if that makes any sense if you're still here, but so yeah, so no, the green and red lines are not volume delta. These are GEX levels. So to answer your question, and then yeah, you obviously understand your points of control and value. Yeah, so that's what that is. Should be a way for me to get notifications of some sort when people pop up in the chat. But yeah, again, like this is a level that we typically would have traded from, right? My question though is, minus the GEX levels, right? Minus the GEX levels, would we have thought to go short from here? I wouldn't have. I would have been going long, because C period, D period, E period, F period, G period, everything's long. And so now getting into the previous week point of control, I would have been like, previous week value. And we're like, okay, cool. Well, let's go to the other side, right? Like, let's do previous week value area low to previous week point of control at 715. That's obviously still there, except there's a GEX level here. So yeah. If we do close below this gray line, which is yesterday's high, yeah, if we close below yesterday's high and we start trading below it, I think we should be able to call it a day. I don't want to stick around for that long. Yeah. So, let's see what's going on here. Yeah, and our gex is all red now. Well, max change gex. All four. 1 minute, 5 minutes, 10, 15, 30. Yeah, like I'm gonna spend, I think, of course, like if you've watched my videos and streams or whatever, once we find a new tool, I obsessed over it. So this is gonna be the subject of a different type of obsession, right? Because again, the question that I have again is, well, saying this out loud, because again, this goes into my journal, this goes onto YouTube. So when I rewatch this, um, so I guess clip that. The question that I do have is, what of our market generated levels, right? Yeah. What about our market generated levels, or MGI, our market generated information? I do know that this is the previous week value area low. I know as well that there's a GEX level just above that. Does it make sense then for me to go short from an MGI, from market generated level, if we're in proximity to a GEX level? Or do I just implore all the patients in the world and just wait for price to actually get there and then monitor the trade from there? There was no way I could have guessed that that there was going to be a Trump tweet, right, or a Trump post. But that's what happened. But still, even with that, right, since we had marked out the level, that was a level that we were prepared to go long from, right? And what initially, what we're trying to do is we were just trying to go short into the level, take advantage of that, and then go long from that level, right? But since I wasn't 100% sure as to whether that was prudent, right? And seeing as how, what time was that? That was in the B prints, right? So from 10 o'clock. So yeah, so around about here, still, of course, like being below 0 gamma. And then also being below yesterday's high, right? I just wasn't entirely sure whether that was a prudent thing to do, whether that was the smartest thing to do. Hence, going into that trade with like minimal risk, with the smallest amount of risk. Well, with risk that I was comfortable with, right? Which is going to make it significant if we lost the trade, but then also significant if we won the trade. And then we got that, Trump tweet right into the put level, cool. And then once we got that, then the next thing that was a question, clip that too. And then the next thing that was a question was, okay, well, seems like we've got the touch here on the levels that I've drawn out, right? As marked out here, right? 64,944 to 65. And that's 64.75, right? But having marked this level out and having got the touch on my chart here on Tradeovate, right? There isn't a touch there, like we don't get it's unlike on this level, on the 74 level. And so because we didn't get the touch there, 5, 10, 15 minutes, right? 20 even, right? I watched it with the expectation that we're gonna come back down here, and also without wanting to trade from the 74 level, because the major positive level, right? Major negative, because that's what we were looking at the time. The major negative was at 64, right? It was down here. So knowing that the major negative was at 64, but then we were trading around here, that also made me hesitant to then take a long, which worked out. Even though I had marked out the level and we're out of it, right? During the C period, it made me hesitant to go long from here. Yeah. So, which is something that I do need to explore as to, is this like an exact number or is this like an area? And also, how is there a better way to translate this the SPX price, right, to the ES price? I mean, it's pretty close, right? 88.25, 88. We're off by like maybe 2 ticks, you know? And then another thing that we need to find out and learn is, what does open interest mean? Because clearly it's important. Otherwise it wouldn't be here. And why does it move around so much? You know? Which are questions that don't need answers today. You know? Yeah. I mean, it'd be great if I had the answers today, because then I'd know what to do around here. But yeah, but since we've had a tag of previous week, of the previous week value low, we can then test out that hypothesis, right? Do we take trades? Do we go short around what is our GEX levels? Right? I mean, not say short because you wouldn't be going short around here, but I'm saying, do you take the trade if it's around a GEX level and it's a key level? Or is it more prudent to just wait for the level at, yeah, fam. Okay, we might have a bit of a setup here, because look, F period, let's make sure it's one tick. Cool. The F period low and the G period low are right at the same level, right? So we have 1623, cool. And that's right at yesterday's high. Okay. So this is a weak low. So this being a weak low in the H prints, which we're gonna get in the next 30 seconds, the movement that I'd like to see happen first is a move up into that GEX level, because it still is there, right? 94.94 still hasn't moved. So, take out this G period high. Okay, back at somewhat almost back at previous week value low. But yeah, but I'm saying take out this G period high during the H prints. Tag that GEX level. Okay, here we go. Let me split this as well. Tag that GEX level and then come back and then take out this weak low. But if we take it out now, then, I don't see any. Yeah, if we take this out now, then, I feel like we might actually start building strength around the previous week value area. Low. I don't know. But that's what I'd like to see. I'd like to see taking out this G period and then coming back and then coming up into this GEX level. Only then do I feel like, okay, then taking out, because this is already set up. This is already set up, and I feel like if this goes now, if this goes now, we're not gonna get it back. And we could be doing that because we're right at this this GEX level here. So see, I will say also just having the levels there made me really, really patient. Um, I mean, at the beginning, you know, yeah, I mean, even at the beginning, like the first trade that I took was with the intention of taking my second trade from that 64 level, right? Um, but then thereafter, it was that 64 level or this level, which was slightly higher, you know, at the time. So I guess, I guess if you're into like gamma or options and stuff, this must be heaven for you. It must be amazing for you. But yeah, I generally feel you know, I do feel like if we do take out this low, then it's going to go. Because this is a textbook Jim Dalton weak low. Then the E will go and D will go, and then we'll be here at 75. And then at that point, boss, yeah, I'm not trying to, I don't want to play. Let me show you what yesterday looked like. Is it in assets? Yeah, so I missed out on this trade. Was it this one? Yeah, I was a bit hesitant here. You see how clean it was. It was like right at the level, and then it went, then it came back, and then right at the level, and then it went, came back at the level, and then it went. So pretty yeah, pretty solid. The levels held pretty well. That was pretty interesting. But yeah, but let's see what happens with this. As I was saying, this if this goes, then that's there's a print lower. All right, that was bound to happen. Does this go or not? I'm also pretty flat. I mean, just do this at you. Being pretty flat. Last 30 minutes, this 30-minute. F period did overlap with the E. Yeah, so guess it was a 690, just like staring at me right in the face. So what's all of this then? What's this about major positive, major negative, open interest, and then also the time. You know what I'm saying? Is this still a thing? Yeah. Will we rue not having gone short from previous week? Value area low. Was that a mistake? Should we have just taken it based off what? Taken it based off the overlap, maybe? 689? 692? And then maybe also because of the time of day. You know what I'm saying? Like, because like it's later on during the day. Whatever it is that's gonna sell is gonna sell, right? And back to zero gamma at 684. Tut, tut, tut. Okay. I period, J period. Okay, but it did sell this to halfback, which is 82. So nothing beyond the halfback, right? H period right up till 82.25. Okay, so yeah. Still, yeah. I mean, there could still be some for. This is hopium though. I'm not gonna lie. We did break yesterday's high, right? Let me switch. Let me move this back here. This was yesterday's high. We broke that, right? Successfully trade. Did I take a screenshot of this? No. Okay, so back to what I was trying to say. Yesterday's high, traded above it, right? Traded below it, came back, broke above it. Previous week value area low. Okay, yes, cool. That's one tick, but from previous week value area low down to halfback, right? That in itself is a move. Again, with previous week value area low, does don't ask me why I have so many screenshots. Shut up. Does kind of align with 689, right? It is more or less that level. That's where we, you know. So I guess that's where our hedging is happening. I don't know. But then what does all of this mean? Major positive 7694, major negative 7674. Are these merely suggestions? Or is it a thing where regardless of what the volume of the open interest is, it's just, you just have to monitor the level. And then if that's the case, then which level do you monitor? And which one do you choose and how? And when? Which one do you choose, how, when, and why that one? You know? Why not 679? Why was it 674? You know? So yeah, so I mean, this is weak buying because it's right at halfback. So maybe we'll get another go at this. Let's see. Yeah, maybe we'll get another go at this. But yeah, quite a bit has to happen. Again, need a break. Let me lock these lines so we don't accidentally move them. Do need to break above yesterday's high. So that's one. So we need to trade back there and close above that, which we might. And then we also need to trade above the previous week value area low. And I'm looking at the time and it's 1:15. So, and these options expired for. So pretty much whatever money was to be made during the options was made here somewhere, like maybe here, circa around about here. People made their money here, you know. Could be, yeah, could be. I don't know. How far does this go? Ah, damn, one goes back to, like, how many hours is that? Two. Yes, if you get the pig plan. And here we go, level again. See what I'm saying? Like, why not this? Why not this 84 level? And then up again. Okay. And again, you see where the major negative was 64, and then just like watch that 64, right? 670, and then it moved to 674. But if I had moved to 674 after the fact, yes, I'm back testing with you. Not really back testing. I'm just trying to figure out. Yeah. Gained absolutely nothing from that endeavor. Yeah, let me not be mean. I mean, did kind of uncover something. Just need to watch this max change gags. How many hours have I been here for? Well, it has been a fantastic. Yeah, thank you very much for your time and patience as we've been trying to figure this out. Very soon, I'm gonna have to go. Okay, maybe we wait a little. I mean, because as I was saying, yesterday's high broke above yesterday's high. Cool support at halfback, which is 682, right? We zoom in and make sure. Yeah, traumatic. But yes, I mean, you know, right at halfback, right? That's your H prints, and then bought back up from there. So uh, no way. This isn't even a level that I would have. I was just trying to think, like, with the short from previous week Gallery low, it's kind of like, okay, that kind of makes sense. Previous week Gallery low, there's a Gex level around about that area, about the max, and then yeah, and then there's been activity there one, twice, three, four times, whatever number of times, right? So, perhaps that one's on me, right? Next, so like once we got to the G period, I could have been like, oh, okay, let's short from there. But that was a question that could only have been answered after the fact, And then also, do I then also make it a habit of doing that? Do I just go, is it a price where we hedge, or is it a general area where we hedge? Is it a range? Is it like, oh, okay, cool. Maybe not once we get into 94, but like once we get into the 90s. So from 90, and then start considering, okay, well, so for example, 695, right? So from 695 going, let's consider the 690 range. Let's consider a 5-point area. And then from that 5-point area, let's find the best place for us to take a trade from, right? Which is in alignment with if we were going to take a trade from that place in the first place. And then going short from there. Instead of trying to get exactness, instead of saying, oh, that's a gamma exposure level, so let's take it right at the gamma exposure level. And then and then whatever scalpy scalp thing we get is whatever scalpy scalp thing we get, because I do not see this coming back, and so good. We up for the day. Yeah, we up for the day, so fermez les portes. Fermez la porte. Which means close the door. If this does come back and the trade's low, I obviously will be somewhat disappointed. And then from here, from this area, it's kind of, the question is, well, 75, right? Obviously, we're coming from above, so what's from 70? I think I'm going to remove all splits here and split the profile in this way. Yeah, so I'm saying from here, from 75, then the question would be like, okay, well, let's go up till 80. Okay, so from 80, what's the significant levels? What are the significant levels that fall within? Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Says, que sera, dog. Yep, thank you very much for joining me and watching me trying to figure this thing out. But I'm signing out. Peace. Catch you tomorrow, maybe. All right.